jab. That's the nothing personal word of the day. It is Friday. Thank God it's Friday, March 8th, 2024. For those of you live on the Nothing Personal with David Sampson YouTube channel, yes, I'm in Miami at Metal Arc Studios with Lebitard, the shipping container. We're here for the Stained Carpet, live from the Stained Carpet, Sunday, 4 o'clock on Lebitard's YouTube channel. Yes, I'll be fully shaved in a tux. Go on the website right now, either on davidsampsonpodcast.com. We link over. Plus, there's a new piece of merch you may like. We link over to Lebitard or go to lebitardaf.com and enter, fill out a ballot. We already have thousands of people trying to beat me. If you can beat me, you'll enter into a raffle where you may win a pretty cool piece of memorabilia. We'll talk about that more later. I got to talk about this Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight. I had all day. The news came out yesterday after we recorded. I had all day to think about it. Think about a great double entendre for word of the day, because jab is not just what boxers throw. A little jab, jab, jab. I've never hit anyone or been hit, as you know. So if you're watching me on camera, jab. I don't know if the jab is the left hand or the right hand. I have no idea. Doesn't matter. But it also, when you jab somebody, that's what I think Netflix is doing to the entire streaming world. And they're doing it to all of the old-time networks. You want to spend $1 billion on rights to show a bunch of guys in pads killing each other? What about you? You want to spend $1 billion watching big, fat people in uniforms go to the mound? How about you and little gym shorts? I got an idea. I'm going to spend way less, still do live events, and I'm going to make way more money than all of you who are jumping all over each other to do sports. You've heard on the sporting class, John Skipper and I discuss rights deals, rights fees. You've heard John Skipper tell you that being in the live sports business, that is good business. I always want to pay $1 more than someone else will pay because I want the Olympics, I want the NFL, I want the NBA. I don't want MLB. All the different things that Skipper said over his career, Netflix has taken a different tack. And what they've said is, we'd like to do live events, but don't misunderstand, we're not doing live sports. And please don't misunderstand, we are not using sports as our anchor tenant and then slotting some shows around it, hoping there's some action. Like CBS, I love you, CBS. I appreciate CBS Sports HQ. I love the fact that you had the Super Bowl and then went right into Tracker. Yeesh. Although Tracker was just renewed for a second season, so maybe I'm wrong. And yes, I love This Is Us. Justin, you know I love you. That said, Netflix says it's all about our shows. It's not about the sports. It's about the movies we make. Some of them really crappy. I haven't even reviewed Spaceman yet. It's in the docket. Coke, I watched it, the new Adam Sandler Netflix movie. There's a ton of rom-coms. There's a ton of shows that you can watch on Netflix. Netflix can make shows famous like it did with Schitt's Creek. And what they want to do is use a sporting event to bring people to Netflix to avail them of all of their shows. So they did that F1 golf thing, horrible. That live golf match in Vegas. Then they followed it up with the biggest tennis match of all time, Rafi Nadal against Carlos Alcaraz. It was just this Sunday. Did you miss it? Hold on. I just blinked. Missed it. Coca, $1 if you can tell me the score of the match between Alcaraz and Nadal, which just happened Sunday, live on Netflix. If you can even tell me how many sets they played, that's worth $0.25. I don't think you can, so don't bother. Nadal lost to Alcaraz. Funny enough, Nadal was able to play against Alcaraz in the exhibition, the Netflix live event tennis slam exhibition. They called it the Netflix. Let me do that again. Ready? 4869. They called it the Netflix Slam. And Nadal played and he got paid. He lost in 3 sets to Alcaraz. And then a day later, but a dollar richer. He pulled out of the most recent PGA Tour stop. Jesus, Coca. It's not the PGA, that's golf. It'd be the USTA. 9-12-69. And then a few days later, Nadal pulled out of Indian Wells. He was injured. He had a problem, couldn't play. I can't perform my best, but he was good enough to play in the Netflix Slam. So Netflix says, all right, what's next? And they came up with a doozy yesterday. They're going to have Mike Tyson, who's older than I am. He's way stronger than I am, way bigger than I am, looks better, got the nice little face tat going. Total violation. Great appearance in movies, The Hangover. Great guest appearances on certain shows, singing, dancing. He's getting back into the ring to fight Jake Paul. Now, before I do what everyone else in media has done, because I'm not going to. I'm not going to get down on Jake Paul. I'm not going to criticize Jake Paul and say he's got zero chance. I'm not going to say no chance toilet pants to Jake Paul. You're going to get your bum kicked. You're not going to last 10 seconds. I'm not doing that. I am going to do the opposite. I'm going to tip my chapeau because in the world of sports business, Jake Paul is playing chess while the rest of the critics are not even playing with themselves. Dice. That came out perfectly on a Friday. Jake Paul's producing this. Jake Paul has a production company, and he sold this to Netflix, who's paying him to produce an event at Jerry's World in Dallas, AT&T Stadium, 70,000 people, millions of people around the world watching. Netflix paid a fee. Jake Paul produces it through his company and then participates in it. And we're too busy in the serious sports media saying, is it sanctioned? Who gives a flying rat's pituitary gland if it's sanctioned? What's he trying for the belt? Now he'll tell you he wants to be the heavyweight champion of the world. This against Mike Tyson on Netflix is not about belts. It's about money belts. It's not about championship belts. Jake Paul is doing it all right. He's 27 years old. He's fought 10 professional fights already. So in his mind, he'd like to see if this can get sanctioned. Maybe this counts as a professional fight. Maybe not. No. When you're producing a match on Netflix the way they are, and it's going to happen July 20th, it is perfect timing in Arlington, Texas. Netflix is dipping their toe into this because they're just starting. They went from golf to tennis, now to boxing. This does not mean that Adam Silver has a new dance partner to get the rights to the NBA. Netflix, not interested in showing NBA games, not interested in a slate like that. Way more interested in one-off events that drive people for that moment who say, wow, I'd love to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer again. So many people are focused on whether or not it's going to be licensed and who's going to regulate it. Can you please focus on what Netflix is doing to disrupt the networks who are paying so much money for all of these sporting events and losing money hand over fist and firing people left, right, and center? Layoffs are part of the everyday parlance. Parlance. I just mixed French, English, Spanish, Latin. Everyone is laying off because no one can make a dollar. How's Netflix doing? Profitable. Why is Netflix profitable? Here's a hint for those of you trying to run a business and trying to be profitable. Bring in more than you give out. It's really that simple. If you want to do that in your own household, it's pretty simple. Write up all the expenses you have and then figure out the amount of revenue you have. That's your paycheck. That's money you find on the side of the street, inside paid telephone booths, wherever you get your money. Add it up at the end of the month, and that better be more than the money that you're sending out, whether it's in bills or whether it is buying streaming services. Whatever it is, Netflix has that figured out. How do I think this ends? It ends in tears and a journey. Jake Paul will continue his career of fighting. Jake Paul will continue his career of producing. Jake Paul makes Mike Tyson seem like he's unknown. That's how popular Jake Paul is. Between Instagram and Twitter and all the things he does around the world, he has created at the age of 27. Love him or hate him, he's created a monetizing machine. This is just the next step. Now, is there a risk that he gets his knock blocked off? His block knocked off? Is there a risk he gets his block knocked off? Yeah. How much don't you ever play these games, Coke? I used to do this. We'd sit in the elementary school cafeteria or the high school cafeteria, middle school. And at the time, Mike Tyson, I don't remember what, but maybe it was Muhammad Ali or Evander Holyfield or Mike Tyson, I don't know, whoever it was when we were growing up. I think Mike Tyson is 2 years older than I, so it probably wasn't him when I was in middle school. It was a different fighter. Don't you say, "Hey, how much would you wanna get paid to get hit one time by Mike Tyson?" And everyone's like, "Oh, I do it for 100 grand." And then someone would say, "You'll be in the hospital for 2 years. You'll pay that much in medical bills. That's not a profitable thing. How about $1,000,000?" "Oh, for 1,000,000 for sure. I'd go 1 round with Tyson." Here's a little news alert for all of you would-be fighters. You wouldn't last 1 punch. It's like saying you could go to the NFL and be a wide receiver going across the middle, and you could get hit 1 time by Adams, and you'd be totally fine. No, you'd be comatose. You'd be toast. I'm gonna give you a wait to see on this July 20th event, Coca. It's not in the show, but I just thought of it. Jake Paul against Mike Tyson. July 20th. Here's my wait to see. Total time of match. I think there was an over-under set by Lebitard on his show yesterday. I believe he said, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, was it 15 seconds that he thought it would last unless Tyson wanted it to last longer? It's gonna last over 1 round. It has to. In order for this to make sense for Netflix, it cannot just be a 3-minute or 2-minute situation. So wait to see when I tell you something's gonna happen. If it does, great. If not, fine. Wait to see. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson gets into the second round. Paper. That's the next concept I wanna talk about. Players made of paper. I'm so guilty of this over 18 years. It's so ridiculous when I think back about the way I acted, where I had evidence in front of me that a player was hurt and a player would not come back, but I always was so stubborn. No, no, it's the training staff. We're gonna get different training staff, better training staff. Our training staff is better than their training staff of another team. We're gonna trade for this guy who's got the elbow. We're gonna fix it. Blisters, no problem. We're gonna stick his finger in the dike of some cream, and it's gonna be great. Everyone always thinks that they'll do better, including me. But there are players who just simply don't play, and it's never going to get better. Yesterday, it was announced that Ben Simmons is out for the year with nerve impingement in his back. Ben Simmons, the player for the Brooklyn Nets, Ben Simmons, who has an argument to have the single worst contract in the history of sports. Forget basketball. I always mention John Koncak as a bad contract. That just ages me, but go look it up. It's bad. The Knicks have like 10 of the worst contracts, from Allen Houston to Eddie Curry, for crying out loud, to Joakim Noah. Ugh, just absolute horrificness. I am guilty of some bad contracts myself. Don't say the Stanton contract is bad yet. Do not pay attention to the fact he's hitting 063 in spring training. Stop it. It's 15 at bats. Coca, people are texting me. I've got purported friends in the industry. I don't think they're friends. Texting me about Stanton starting spring training. It's 15 at bats. Tell me that you don't know a thing about baseball without telling me. That's looking at spring training stats and making an extrapolation over the course of a season. So let's get back to Ben Simmons, because this just struck me, and Coca gave me a bunch of stats that were just awe-inspiring to me. He's made about $163 million in this horrible deal, and he's played only, ready for this? In 2021-22, guess how many games he played for Brooklyn? Donut. And he made $33 million. That's infinity per game that he played. The next year was amazing. He played 42 games for $35 million. That's amazing. That's more than half a season. Congratulations, Ben Simmons. This year, 15 games for $38 million. This guy is a disaster for the team, not for himself. Now, we can get into mental health if you want. I'd rather not. I'm okay. I believe that I don't want to say. I don't like it when people use mental health as a sword and when it's not real. If you have mental health issues and can't play, I'm in. It's the same as having a physical injury. Fine. And I don't know that I'm saying that Ben Simmons is making up his nerve impingement. I'm not saying that he's making up any of the reasons why he wouldn't play for Philadelphia, held out, got traded for James Harden. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying that he doesn't want to play because he doesn't want to shoot the ball. I'm not saying that either. I'm saying that Brooklyn is DBR, despondent beyond repair. Why? Because they know they have no chance of him playing and they owe him $40 million next year. So what are the Nets trying to do right now? They are on the search, on the lookout. They called in all their basketball people. They had a meeting around a circular table or via Zoom, and they said, listen, do me a solid. Find a $40 million player somewhere who sucks, and I want him. Find me the worst combination of bad contracts on any team, and I'll three-way until I'm so tired I sleep for 3 days. Find me anything to get rid of Simmons, because the thought of giving him $40 million next year, I can't stomach it, can't stand it, won't do it. I think the Nets will find a way. I think they'll find a partner because it's an expiring contract, and you can always find the next sucker, P.T. Barnum. You can always find someone to say, oh, he'll play for me. We'll finally capture his talent. We'll teach him to shoot straight, and he'll keep up his top defensive play and help our team reach the championship. Hell, we'll put him with Kyrie and Luka. How's that for a wait to see out of nowhere? How can it be that the Nets let Simmons suit up for them? I've made a bunch of trades. I want to think about trades that I've made just out of anger. Top 5 trades made by me because I had no choice. Well, that's not fair because I can come up with 5 money trades very easily. I can tell you my first one. You know, they say you never forget your first. If you're listening to this, Rondell, you were my first. I'm sorry. If you know, you know. That's Rondell White. All right, can we go back to the Ben Simmons contract for a minute? Do you remember when he signed? Philadelphia signed him to the max. He was supposed to pair with Embiid, and they were going to win titles in the process. Then the whole holdout happened. How do you deal with a player who has the security of a guaranteed long-term contract and then tries to bully you into getting traded? Does this sound at all familiar to you? Does this remind you at all of Harden? Does it remind you at all of Deshaun Watson? What do players have in common? Those who walk into management and say, trade me because I'm not playing. I spent, I don't know, I would say 6 hours of my life, maybe more, maybe 10 hours of my life talking with other team presidents about this exact concept. And it's not collusion, so stop it, all of you hawks out there. And the conversations would go something like this. They'd normally be at a bar, either at the opposing teams when I go on the road with the team or at an owner's meeting. And they would go like this. What is it about players and their approach that makes us want to reward them? Why do we allow for misbehavior to have positive consequences? Why do we take a player who is holding out or complaining about his contract or not playing hard, and why do we feel we're the ones who have to make the trade? And we came to an answer, and it is an awful one, and I wanted to share it with you today. The answer that we collectively came to, and we talked about this, man, many, many times over many different years, is that we're all willing to subjugate our egos in order to try to win more games on the field. And all the people who think we're not trying to win or our payroll is not big, we don't care. You're not inside these meetings. We all want to win every game. We're all incredibly competitive. We all understand it's like if you can't buy a certain car, it doesn't mean you don't want that car. It doesn't mean you don't want to know what it would feel like to drive that car. Or when you pass a big house, you don't think to yourself, wow, I wonder if I could afford that house. I can. Oh, well, it's still fun to look at. It's going to a freaking museum. Wow, that's an amazing Picasso. Look at that Van Gogh. Jiminy crickets. I think her eyes are following me. Yes, that's a Louvre reference. Hello. Wake up. It's Friday morning. Of course, there are players you want when you run a team. There are better teams that you can put together if you had the financial wherewithal to do it. And it doesn't matter, are you making profit? Are you not making profit? Is the owner pocketing money? Is the owner not pocketing money? That's never the point. The owner gives the president the payroll. That's it. The president of a team doesn't get to go to the GM and say, hey, we're going to sign John Cocktoaston today. It doesn't work that way. And we can't tell the owner, oh, you're spending so much money in an auction or on your yacht. Why aren't you putting more money into the team? Hey, John Henry, screw Liverpool and Mbappe. I don't care about the PGA. You got a few billion to put into that so you and Sam can be on the board? Forget it. I want to sign Jordan Montgomery. It's ridiculous. But every baseball executive wants to do that. So, when you have a player who is not performing for the amount of money you're paying him, and that player's being a baby, you need to do something. I love to stand on ceremony, and I love to release the player. I love to punish the player. I love to tell a player, we're not going to trade you. We're going to sit you. We're not going to play you. We are going to make your life miserable unless you shape up. Get out there and try. Get out there and care. And I also love rainbows and unicorns and rom-coms, other than anyone but you. But at the end, when rationality takes over emotion, you move on from these players. And that's why you see players continue to get moved. That's why you see salaries get split in baseball where one team will pay a part. They'll pay their own player to get rid of them. All of that is done because people think, executives, that their team just got better. And yet many fans say, better. You just traded blank player. This player's amazing, but you don't know him. You don't realize what we would know about the player, which is A, he's not amazing. B, he's a liability inside the clubhouse, on the field, etc. You think the Nets don't look at Ben Simmons that exact same way and view him as a complete liability? Complete. Forget financial. He's just a complete liability to have around. It reminded me of the Nationals. How's it going with I haven't seen one thing about this, Coke, of you. Has Steven Strasburg reported to spring training yet? We're at the report date coming up soon, and they want him to come be around. Remember Strasburg, the Boris client who's not retiring because he can't pitch again, but he won't retire because he's owed so much money by the Nationals. So the Nationals are saying, up yours, come to spring training and be a mentor to the young students. And Strasburg is saying, screw that. I can't stand being around these players or baseball. I'm not coming. And there's a total, they announced his retirement and they unannounced it, the whole thing. You don't want that player around. What the Nationals are doing is they're spiting him. That's not going to last. All right, let's take a break, Coca. When we come back, we're going to review another Oscar-nominated movie, as this is the final show before the Oscars. I'll explain to you why I'm not giving you my Oscar picks right now and nothing personal. And then we get to bring Trevor Bauer back into the show. because when you hear what he's doing, you will laugh in the same way I did. We'll be right back. Are we back? I can't see when we're in Miami like this. Yes, we're back. Hello. Hello, everybody. Live from Meadowlark Studios here in Miami, the great Elster Hotel. It's David Sampson and Matthew Coca. We come to you every day live at 8 a.m. on the Nothing Personal with David Sampson YouTube channel. Please spread the word. Tell your friends, Romans, and country people that they can find us everywhere at David P. Sampson on Twitter. Our website, David Sampson Podcast. Go on it right now. Check out the new merch, not the 4869 shirt. I'm still waiting for that. There's a new one that was put in. Good quality. I'm wearing the Nothing Personal polo right now. Not bad. I like it. So the reason why I'm not giving you my Oscar picks, which I normally do the Friday show before the Oscars, is that I will be unveiling my picks live with Adnan Virk and Ben Lyons, live from the stained carpet. We are doing a 7-hour live show on Sunday, starting at 4 p.m. on Lebitard's YouTube channel, lebitardaf.com. You can find us. Go to YouTube. I don't think we're going to simulcast it on my YouTube channel, but that would be interesting if we did, Coca. You're going to be here. Let me know if we can do that. But either way, go to Lebitard, subscribe to my YouTube channel, then go to Lebitard's. And on that pregame, when we're talking about red carpet, we're going through all the movies, I'll give all the picks. But here's the fun part. If you go to lebitardaf.com right now, there is an Oscar ballot. Fill it out. If you beat me, you will enter into a raffle to get a really cool piece of merchandise or memorabilia. And if you win the entire bracket challenge, you're going to get a really cool prize from Meadowlark. So join these scores and scores and scores of people, thousands, who are doing this, and see if you can beat me. So I'm not giving you my picks right now, but I do want to review another Oscar-nominated movie. I believe, Coca, that we've reviewed all 10 Best Picture nominees on this show. You can go on davidsampsonpodcast.com and look at every movie we have reviewed. You can look at every pick of the day. You can look at everything. I watched a movie yesterday morning very early called Perfect Days. Perfect Days is directed by Wim Wenders. It stars Koji Yakusho. And it is the Japanese entry into Best International Feature, where Zone of Interest is the presumptive favorite. The movies nominated in this category are simply phenomenal, from Society of the Snow to Perfect Days to Zone of Interest. I want to talk about this movie. You know how I feel about Tokyo. You know how I feel about Japan. I absolutely love the country. I love the city. I love the people. And this is not just because I love Ichiro so much. It is because to say that Japanese people are respectful, to say that they are clean, to say that they are smart, to say that they are interesting, to say that there is culture that fascinates you, to say that there is a way to live where you don't have to actually touch hands, and to recognize the beauty of the country, the beauty of the formality of the country. Perfect Days is about a man who cleans public toilets in and around Tokyo. Now, you may think that I would never watch a movie like that. And I must admit that in the first 30 minutes of the movie, I was looking at this and I was a little cringed because the thought of cleaning a public toilet is so disgusting to me. And then I realized he was cleaning Toto toilets, because those are the toilets that they use in public bathrooms. And the public bathrooms in Tokyo are so clean because people have respect. Can you imagine going and cleaning the Central Park toilet? Want to vomit. Now, why would a movie about cleaning toilets be nominated for Best International Feature? Because there's the rub. It's not about cleaning toilets. It's about a man and his routine and the way he takes his job Seriously, the way he interacts with Tokyo, with the world, with the country, with the people in his life. There's not one extra scene in this 122-minute movie. There's not one extra word of dialogue. The screenplay itself may only be 20 pages, and it doesn't matter because every word is perfect. Every frame that Wim Wenders captured is perfect. I've told you that I love The Holdovers. I've told you that I loved Poor Things. I haven't reviewed a couple of movies that I have on my list that I've watched that I'm going to get to next week or the week after. But Perfect Days, which I spent the $20 to buy on Apple so I can watch it over and over. It's easily in my top 5 movies that I've seen this year. Please take my word for it and watch this movie. Please, for me. How do you think Trevor Bauer is in terms of respect when he strikes someone out and does the sword, kamikaze sword? Trevor Bauer's been so desperate this entire spring training. Go follow his Twitter account, but don't press follow. And he writes all these things. I would play for you for free. I figure I owe the Dodgers about 30 starts. Sign me for the minimum. I'll donate it back to your foundation and just give me the ball because you need pitching. Every time someone gets injured on any staff, he's tweeting, hey, look at me. I'm here. Of course, I've told you from the beginning, so you've been smart in talking to the people you work with and play with, that Trevor Bauer has zero chance. Zero. Look at it. Donut. Double donut. There is not a major league team who will sign Trevor Bauer. NGTH. So Trevor Bauer, as a self-described disruptor, someone who wants to see if, hey, what should my next move be? I don't really want to go back to Korea or maybe Japan. I don't want to do any of that. I really want to be in the big leagues. What do I do? Trevor Bauer, yesterday, it was announced, has signed with the Asian Breeze. It sounds like a Marvel character, but it's not. The Asian Breeze is a team of touring wannabes, has-beens, never will be's, and likely couldn't ever be's. It's a bunch of players who get together. They join this independent team. They call themselves a travel team. And what they do is they play against major league organizations, minor league players. They schedule games on backfields during spring training. And they try to get noticed by scouts because they call themselves, we are the undiscovered. Trevor Bauer is going to pitch for the Asian Breeze when the Asian Breeze play against the Dodgers minor leaguers on a backfield in Camelback. He's going to pitch against his old organization. Chef's kiss to the PR of that, Trevor. Here's the problem. Back in the day, back in my day in early 2000s, there was a chance that there were undiscovered players. We would send scouts to the nether regions of Never Never Land saying, find me a man who wears combat boots but throws 96. Find me someone who can hit a ping pong ball with a broomstick and does it in the backyard of their shack. They did a whole movie about it. Kevin Bacon. Let's go discover gold. Doesn't work that way anymore. There are no secret players. Everybody knows about everybody. There's the interweb. There is social media. There's scouting. There's scouting bureaus. There's central scouting stations. There are no secrets, Marty. So while this team, the concept was, let's get undiscovered players seen by scouts as we take on minor leaguers. You think that there's people for the Marlins who are going to get themselves to Arizona, watch the game, and say, oh, I forgot about Trevor Bauer. God, bad on me. I see him in the Asian Breeze uniform, and boom, all I came thinking is we could use this guy. Now, Marlins are a bad example with one of the top 5 rotations in all of baseball, but there's 25, 26 teams in theory would have an upgrade with the old Trevor Bauer, which is nothing like the new Trevor Bauer, which has nothing to do with the baggage of Trevor Bauer and the fact that Trevor Bauer is never going to sign. But what a great up yours to the Dodgers and to Major League Baseball. I loved it. It's another tip of my cap to somebody who is really trying to be a disruptor. Here's the thing, though. It's not going to work under any scenario. I shouldn't have even given it oxygen. I apologize. It was too good to pass up. Too good to pass up. All right. Nothing personal pick of the day. We had the Nuggets giving a half to the Celtics. Coca, can you confirm that was the right line? Because I believe the Celtics, that game went off as Celtics being favorites, and the Nuggets were getting a point and a half. And my sheet shows that we took the Nuggets and gave 1.5 at home to the Celtics. So I'm not sure what the line was, but here's what I am sure of. We won because the Nuggets won outright by more than 2 points. Very interesting game, actually, in Denver. Could be a preview of the NBA Finals. Everyone's already anointing the Celtics as the NBA champions. Go ahead and sleep on the Nuggets. Be my guest. We also had a Nuggets Heat money line parlay for only half a unit. We lost that because the Nuggets won outright. The Heat did not. The Heat were beating the Mavericks, and then Luka was Luka. How much did it feel? I mean, we've all made bad trades. We've all. But trading Trae Young for Luka, getting Trae Young, trading Luka for Trae Young. Bad. Very, very bad. I still have that wait to see. Don't let me forget about it. Luka will win a title before Trae Young. That seems easy. That seems really easy. Luka's good. So we lost that half unit parlay. All right, tonight we've got the Bucks and Lakers playing. The Bucks are favored in LA as they continue their West Coast trip. Remember, the Bucks a couple days ago lost to the Warriors by 25. Doc Rivers has fought his way back to almost 500 as coach of my Milwaukee Bucks. The Lakers are reeling, sort of. We're taking the Bucks -1 over the Lakers. There is no one on the Lakers who can contain either Lillard or Giannis. Bucks -1, I assume, incorporates both Giannis and Lillard playing, and we're going to take them. They will rebound, pun intended. You know who's not going to rebound? Transition alert. You know who's not going to rebound? Ted Leonsis. You remember his name? He owns the Wizards and the Capitals. And he did that big press conference that I love when you stand up and you show stadium renderings and you announce a deal. You put your arm around the governor of Virginia and you say, I love you, man. We're moving to Northern Virginia. And people in D.C. are totally despondent, trying to figure out what they're going to do with their arena that needs renovation. We'll have the WNBA team there. Oh, no, we need something more than that. Wait, when Caitlin Clark comes, we'll have it. So, premature celebration. Premature anything is not good. Not good. Don't be premature. No one likes it. No one likes celebrating when there's still game to be played. All of these people who announce their stadiums. Yes, I'm talking about Tampa, Oakland, everybody. I've done it. Guilty. Did it in Montreal. Did a full release of renderings before I had the financing. Didn't get the financing, and the team did not make it in Montreal, as you know. Announced in Miami, all these deals were done. They weren't done. So I get it. I know why people do it. What Ted Leonsis was trying to do with that big press conferences, he was trying to get Mo, the big Mo. Instead, he got Louise Lucas. Instead of getting momentum toward a deal and having the governor and building up consensus, there's a woman named Louise Lucas who's a Democratic senator in Virginia who basically looked right at Ted and the governor and said, no chance, toilet pants. I am not going to allow a budget that has money in it to build this facility and do this development for Ted. Because she picked up on the fact that it's a real estate play. Shocking. As though people in Miami are asleep at the switch and don't know what's going on with Inter Miami, or what people don't realize was going on with Chicago, with the White Sox, with the Bears in Arlington. They're all development plays. Using public money to help private developers develop. Does that happen? Yes. It happens with tax incentives. But the type of money that goes to these sports owners under the shelter, the theory of, hey, we're building a ballpark and moving a team to you, that covers up all sorts of ail. So Governor Glenn Youngkin, he's been fighting. It's such a fight. What happens with budgets, as you know, there's a Senate, there's a House, and the governor then gets to, if he can veto it, he can veto it, but normally he would sign it, but he tries to get a budget done that he wants. And there's just three branches of government. The two branches are fighting. Obviously, the judicial branch is staying out of it for now. But in Virginia, it is the same story. And so what happened is a budget was put forward to be voted on during the legislative session that did not have financing for TED and for this development in Northern Virginia. And the governor's angry. So what the governor said is, folks, put this in the budget. You are making a colossal mistake. We need to do a deal with TED. We need to get the professional sports teams here. This deal makes sense. And for you, assembly people, senators, members of the House, the fact that you're not allowing this, it's going to cost you. Now, what the governor can do, I guess he could call a special session. Not going to happen. Special sessions, did you see what happened in Nevada? They did call the special session. Total costly nightmare. There's no way this governor has the political capital to do it. They could wait till next year and delay the whole project and then figure out renovating D.C. or be a lame duck or maybe go play in Sacramento or at the Oakland Coliseum in the interim period. Just delay the entire thing by another year as we all get a year older, and then try to get Louise Lucas, to somehow agree to this deal. Or you just walk away. So here's what developers and owners do. Most of them, unless your name is John Fisher, don't walk away. You keep trying. Now you have parallel paths. So the Capitals and the Wizards have to figure out what they're going to do. So they're going to spend time. They're going to right now try to re-engage DC, figure out if there's something to be done there. But of course, DC is also trying to do a deal for the, I was going to say Redskins. I can't remember the name of their team. Oh my God. The Washington Commanders. Wow. It is 8:43 a.m. on a Friday morning. 2 minutes. It's called RFK Stadium. 2 minutos. And then I'm going live on Levitard to pump this watch party live from the stained carpet. Let me get back to this for 1 second. The Virginia governor, with him going public. Do you think that that is an impact? So I was in meetings. Can I tell a quick story? Do I have a few minutes? We would do strategy meetings when trying to get money from the state up in Tallahassee. And the strategy meetings would be with our internal people as well as some outside consultants, trying to figure out what would be the best way to get the governor to participate in what we were trying to do. The governor, Jeb Bush, the governor, Rick Scott, whoever the governor is at the time. And the way the meetings would go is that, what do we have to do? Is there a donation? Is there a political action committee that we can donate to? Do we need to bring players up to Tallahassee? What can we do that will be helpful to the governor or to this member of the Senate? And I don't mean buying them off. I don't mean bribery. But what do they want? What community things can we do that can be a win for them? Basically, what we go to the public entity with is a package. You do X, we do Y, and we all live happily ever after. The problem is when you offer to do Y, they say they're going to do X. And then, my name is Marco Rubio. I promise you X. I'm not going to do squat. But by the way, give me Y, because I'm going to be president of the United Nothing. Am I bitter about Marco Rubio and all the lies he told me? Yeah. What a waste of my time. I've told you I'd always rather a politician just say no to me. Just say no. Not interested. It's a no vote. Louise Lucas is not a no to Ted Leonsis. All this over my dead body. No. They just haven't gotten to her yet to talk about what she needs for her district, for her people, for her area, for herself, for her staff, for her state. Everything's a negotiation. In a negotiation, the person with the leverage wins. Ted Leonsis, as the team owner, what leverage? You're going to leave? Where? You're going to go to D.C. versus Virginia? You're going to go to Maryland? Leverage would be if you're going to go to Vegas and leave Oakland. And even that may not be enough leverage. What's another thing? Business? What's good for the state or good for the municipality? The but for tax revenue, the but for sales tax, the but for jobs. There are myriad arguments you can make. There are myriad ways to get deals done, but they take time. And so going forward, I would encourage teams who are looking for new stadiums to stop with the premature announcements, because what you're doing is you're emboldening the stakeholders who aren't with you. And then it creates noise. And this is a world that's different now. This world of social media has changed where it can turn against you in a flash and you can lose your deal. It is not over for the Wizards in Virginia. I promise you that. The governor will find a way to work with his people on the other side of the aisle because it is good for Virginia and there will be compromise. In the meantime, the back and forth continues. Well, that's it for this week. Thank you so much. What a week, Coca. I didn't even get to that high school game. You were right. I wanted to. You were right. You're always right, Coca. We'll be back Monday live at 8 a.m., but we will see you in a few minutes on Levitard live on his YouTube channel. And then Sunday, 4 p.m., sharp, live from the stained carpet, where I will not look the way I look right now on Nothing Personal with David Sampson YouTube channel. I will look completely fresh and ready for the stained carpet. Until then, it's just business. This is Nothing Personal.